Hey Merfolk fans, I'm Joe. Thanks very much for joining me today. If you'd like to support my channel and all these videos that I make, please take a second and check out the link above to my Patreon page. These videos do take a good amount of time and effort, and really increases my motivation when you guys pledge on Patreon, even if it's just $1 or $2. It goes a long way towards, helping me buy new cards online, helping me buy nice microphones, and just in general, sort of encouraging me to keep up the work that I do on this channel. So again, if you'd like to support the channel, please check out that link to my Patreon page. So I'm back with another Modern League. I ran back the same list that I discussed at the beginning of the last league. I did run this league with the Minamo, trying to play around Choke just a little bit more because that card is super annoying. I had the same balance of cards in the sideboard with 3s of Echoing Truth and Dismember, playsets of Deprive and Phyrexian Revoker. Still have the 4 main deck relics and the 1 sideboard Grafdigger's Cage as 5 pieces of Grave Hate in the 75. So that's the deck that I ran. Before I jump into the league, I wanted to show you guys some functionality on my YouTube channel that you might not know exists. If you click on the playlists button here, it'll take you to this page where you can see I actually have many playlists. They keep going and going and going. Might be asking yourself, what could all these playlists possibly be? Well, some of them are my league playlists, and I encourage all of you guys to actually watch my leagues in the playlist form because I put them all in the right order. If for whatever reason you get taken out of the playlist, all of the videos have links at the end of the video to the next video in the playlist. But really the best viewing experience is for the leagues in these playlists. But apart from those, I've maintained playlists for all of the different matchups in Modern that I've come across. It's possible that here and there I might have forgotten to include a video in one of these playlists, but you can see there's lots of matchups like Storm and Tron. Tron has 16 different videos. If we click in here, you can see that it goes pretty far back, all the way to 2016 when I was still playing on Cockatrice, actually. Back then, Red-Green Tron was super popular. They ran Pyroclasm. The Cockatrice interface was so funny. In the replays, you could see the opponent's hand, which actually kind of made for interesting content with Cockatrice. You could see if the opponent played optimally, or if they made strange plays, or had options that you might not have realized. Anyhow, so Tron as one example. If we look a little bit further down, you've got 17 Scapeshift videos, 12 Affinity videos. So for anybody who wants to do some research on Modern Merfolk's matchups against particular archetypes, I'd encourage you to come to my playlist page and just watch some of these. I've actually got 10 videos of the mirror match. 7 versus various Grixis decks, bunch of Death and Taxes. Let's see, what else do we have here? Anyhow, I think you get the point. We've got some blue-white control. If you want to see how this matchup goes, just click on the top of the playlist and it'll just take you through a whole bunch of different matches. And while I'm in here, just a bit of functionality in YouTube in general that you guys should be aware of is if you click the settings little button down here, most Magic content can be watched faster than normal speed. So I usually watch most videos at actually double speed. Sometimes I wish that it was available in like 2.5 or 3 times the speed. It just eliminates a lot of the pauses that the commentators have. Like, I know I don't always speak as quickly as I could. Like, sometimes I have to gather my thoughts. So you can see how fast this goes on 2 times, and so you guys can watch a lot more content in less time if you run the videos faster with 2 or maybe 1.75 or 1.5 speed. Give it a shot if you haven't yet. I think that it makes viewing Magic content more enjoyable a lot of the time. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into round 1 of this Modern League. All right, I'm here with game 1 of round 1 of this Modern League, playing against Panda and Pig. they won the die roll. And this is a really, really, really nice hand. The opponent kept 7 as well. Flooded Strand, getting cracked for a Watery Grave, already down to 17, and Inquisition. The opponent takes AEther Vial, which is fine, but with Spreading Seas and Silvergill Adept in hand to draw me cards, I'm not particularly concerned, especially since I have a 1-drop to play on turn 1. I think that is probably the correct call here. You guys can weigh in and let me know what your opinion is. If you were this blue-black player here, would you take the Vial? What's the best way to hurt Merfolk's strategy here? Do we want to take the Silvergill? It's between the Silvergill and the Vial. The Vial just frees up our tempo, lets us put things into play on their end step. But Silvergill is a body and it's going to draw us cards, so could go either way. Ultimately, my opinion, I guess, is that taking the Vial's correct. All right, so I drew another island. Easy choice, just play it and get Ben onto the board. Opponent untaps, finds a polluted delta, cracks it down to 16. Now, the fact that they got a basic island there makes me think they're probably not on Death Shadow. Otherwise, they typically want to hit themselves down to 13 as quickly as possible. Jace Vryn's Prodigy is actually played in some Death Shadows lists these days. So I guess we can't rule it out yet. It's possible they're hedging against the aggressive Merfolk strategy. Like, if I play a Lord and attack with Benthic Biomancer, I'm going to get them closer to 13 anyway. So I'm just going to go straight to combat with Benthic Biomancer here. It's a strategy that you guys should look to enact in your games, because one of the real benefits of Benthic Biomancer that doesn't get discussed as much as just the general value of his loot is the idea that he can attack into bigger creatures pretty easily. Like, this Jace is not going to block Benthic Biomancer. Imagine that Ben was Curse Catcher or Mistcaller. It would be stupid to attack into the Jace. It's just a waste of time. I mean, it's possible the opponent might think that we're bluffing, but they have pretty much perfect information on our hand at this point. This opponent, however, it's possible they might be kind of new to Modern, might be new to Merfolk in general, and didn't really read my card. When they play Jace Vryn's Prodigy, I mean, the goal is to untap with it and get at least some value by, tapping it, drawing a card, and discarding. So Jace looks for 5 cards in their graveyard. So the opponent could untap, play another fetch land, activate Jace, and then transform him into a Planeswalker, which starts to get tons of value. But this is ridiculous because he's preventing effectively 1 point of damage. I'm going to adapt Ben, and I get to improve the quality of my hand while just effectively making Jace a chump blocker. So I really like that Relic. This deck almost certainly plays some Snapcasters, and they've got plenty of blue mana, so I just pitch the Spreading Seas. All right, so a really poor play by the opponent, but we have the cards that enable those kinds of tricks, I guess. So here's a Snapcaster, making this Relic a bit more useful than it would be against a non-Snapcaster deck. So here's the Inquisition getting flashed back. The opponent takes away the Lord. So let's see here. We're just going to try to maintain card value here, card advantage, I should say. Run out the Silvergill Adept. Force is pretty spectacular, and I'm going to run out Relic here. I'm pretty sure the opponent has no way to destroy that in the main deck. It's starting to look more like a blue-black deck than a Grixis deck. So we do have a Lord in hand, and I'd rather not trade a Ben for a Snapcaster if I can avoid it. Okay, another Thoughtseize. Opponent continues to pay life. They took the Lord. At this point, I had revealed the Trickster because I think the opponent already knew about that. So now the opponent has complete information on my hand. They're down to 3 cards. I've got their graveyard under control. Another Trickster's pretty nice. Actually chose to play one of them out now to tap the Snapcaster down and keep attacking the opponent's life total. I've got Mutavault up. We'll probably want to cycle the Relic on the opponent's end step. Another Thoughtseize. This is kind of intense how many Thoughtseizes they have. So they took the Trickster, which makes sense. It's another body. I don't have a blue card to pitch for Force, but I can start to leave up mana soon if I want to. All right, opponent's down to 3 cards. We're going to get nice value off that Relic. They drew into a Silvergill, which is obviously even more value. So with the opponent at 8, it's time to just start leaning. The Snapcaster can chump something, or rather trade with something, I should say. They go for the Mutavault, have no removal, so they're down to 2. And I'm just going to pass to the opponent. I don't know if they have any crazy Planeswalkers or anything, but with 6 power on the board, they just scooped here. So not quite sure what's going on in this deck. We saw a whole bunch of hand disruption, a Jace, a Snapcaster. It's possible that they were playing some kind of reanimator strategy where Jace pitches like Obsidat, and then they bring Obsidat back with Goryo's Vengeance. Who knows what Jace is trying to do? It could just be getting value, or it could be facilitating some crazy graveyard strategy. Let's go to game 2 and see if we get a bit more information about what the deck is that we're playing against, and see what my sideboarding strategy was. Back for game 2. I'm going to go ahead and open up the sideboard here. All right, looks like I took out all 4 Cs, 1 Master of Waves, that's 5, 2 Forces. Don't really know what I'm playing against. So I hedged here on Forces of Negation, 5, 6, 7, took out an island, that's 8, and took out 1 Aether Vial, that's 9. I brought in 4 Deprives. It seemed like kind of a grindy matchup, whatever the opponent is trying to do, so maintaining card parity by not pitching too many cards to Force of Negation. Also, Deprive can counter creatures. We don't know what the opponent has as far as creatures go beyond, I guess, Snapcaster Mage. So we brought in the 4 Deprives. Looks like we brought in 3 Phyrexian Revokers. You know, it can at least name Jace Vryn's Prodigy if it transforms. I think it's like, I forget the name of that Planeswalker, but it can name that guy. And if the opponent has other Planeswalkers, Phyrexian Revoker can do a good job. And if not, then it's just another body that can attack alongside our Merfolk. So that's 4 Deprive, 3 Revokers, and it looks like I brought in 2 Dismembers. If that Jace is in fact sort of a pivotal piece of a graveyard strategy, then being able to dismember it is pretty great. Also looked like it might run some number of Gurmag Anglers or Tassigers, so Dismember pretty good in those kinds of matchups. So let's see again. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards out, and then 4 Deprives in, 3 Phyrexian Revokers, and 2 Dismembers. Opponent's on the play again. Another beautiful hand. Opponent mulligan to 6. They start off with, of course, Hand Disruption. Probably going to take that Vial again. Worked pretty well for them last game. Okay, Oboro, drew a Lord, need some lands, but, you know, we've got plenty of those in the deck. Okay, Serum Visions, doesn't have the turn 2 Jace, and leaves up the Darkslick Shores. So we're going to go for Silvergill and hope to fade the Spell Snare here. Okay, Dismember, pretty decent. If they want to try to untap, play a fetch land, play, you know, Gurmag Angler, we can just get rid of it right away. Okay, so there's white mana. We saw, I think, a Flooded Strand last game, so they could possibly be on white, and we see here that they do, in fact, play white in this deck. So it's some kind of Esper build. So another blue source is great. Not going to reveal anything. I'm just going to go straight to combat and get in with the Silvergill Adept. Opponent uses a path on that. Again, kind of revealing their inexperience. Using a path to exile on a Silvergill is pretty ridiculous, especially when they know the contents of my hand. A whole bunch of Lords and another Silvergill. They might not know about these Lords, I kind of forget, but they definitely know about these guys. I'm going to play out another Silvergill, keep my hand stocked with 7 cards. Opponent doesn't have any kind of counter spell, and we draw another Lord, so play the Waterlogged Grove, pass with mana up to dismember something. Okay, Inquisition again. We'll see if this dismember is relevant or not. And the opponent just took a Lord and plays a Flooded Strand. Opponent's down to 2 cards, and you can see how Merfolk can maintain card advantage in these kinds of matchups. If we play even a couple of Silvergill Adepts, we get ahead on the board, keep cards in our hand, and the opponent just keeps using resources. They did mulligan to 6, but you can see that, you know, there's I have 3 more cards than they do. Right, it's probably time to play a Lord, force them to have some removal. Looks like they might. Okay, so snap into path. Now, in this kind of a situation, if I want to save my Silvergill, I probably have to dismember the Snapcaster. But you want to wait until the opponent has actually used their flashback spell on your Lord before committing to the Dismember. So the opponent chose Path to Exile, but then they clicked through blocks, which means that Silvergill was unblocked since he had Island Walk, and now the Snapcaster's not even a threat. So the opponent's going to take 2 from the Silvergill regardless. And since the Snapcaster is not really a big deal, I'm not going to waste the Dismember on it right now. Okay, so the opponent continues to ramp us, which is pretty sweet. We'll play a Benthic Biomancer, and again leave up mana for Dismember if the opponent plays anything scary. Alright, well, I'm pretty sure they know that I have this other Lord, so they're going to get some value off this Surgical Extraction. But I don't see, what they're going to do against the rest of my hand. I have a redraw with Waterlogged Grove, a redraw with Benthic Biomancer, and I've already got gas in hand, so this Snapcaster's not looking particularly threatening. Okay. So I decided to run out the Lord. Get in with the 2 Merfolk. If they have removal for the Lord, they can trade with one of these guys. If they choose Ben, I can adapt in response and pitch this AEther Vial. Actually, since they didn't seem to have anything, it seemed to me the best option in this spot was to go ahead and adapt before damage. The opponent let it go, they let it resolve, and the Deprive's pretty nice. Just gives me more backup. So opponent's going to cycle Unearth. At this point, it just seems like Unearth is to get value out of Snapcaster Mage. We really haven't seen very much apart from Snapcaster. All right, we see a Serum Vision. And Teferi. It's sort of okay. Opponent bounces Ben. Pretty strange, right? Untapped, going for Opt, which is sort of poor. They know we have the Dismember, so I can just kill Snapcaster and then I have lethal on board, so I guess they might have been dead anyway, but paying 2 life there, probably not the best decision. Okay, well, they just scooped anyway, but you guys saw the line I was talking about. Dismember the Snapcaster, activate Mutavault, swing for 8, and they go to -1. So after this round, I talked to some Merfolk pilots in the Discord, and somebody mentioned that it might be Esper, Esper Mentor, otherwise known, I guess, as Esper Spells, which I think got like 2nd place in some relatively large modern event online recently. So if they did have Monastery Mentor, that would explain Unearth a little bit more. Like if we're able to deal with the Mentor, they can just unearth it and bring it back to the battlefield. They've got all of this hand disruption and all of these 1-drops. Actually, Chalice would be pretty strong in this matchup. Everything in their graveyard is a 1-drop. So yeah, I mean, it's probably that deck. They do run a Singleton Teferi, but I guess they didn't find their Mentor. We would have had a Dismember for it. And yeah, we had a really great hand. So pretty easy 2-0 in round 1. Thanks for watching, guys. Please leave your thoughts down below in the comment section. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And of course, please check out my Patreon page if you'd like to support my channel. Tune in for the next video where I'll be back with round 2 of this Modern League. I'll see you guys there. Bye.